So WandaVision gave us magic. We are about to wait for a movie of multiverse of madness, and Loki has the connection to both madness, magic, timeline, as well as comedy. Welcome back to the channel everyone, I hope you guys are doing absolutely fine. So the first episode of Loki is out on Disney now, and I've just finished watching it, and it has been an amazing journey to see how the Loki who escaped along with the Tesseract from the time travel which Avengers had did in the end game, and how his journey is now going to be. So let's start with the detailed explanation and a breakdown review of episode 1. So spoiler alert, if you have not watched this episode yet, then definitely there are going to be huge spoilers in this episode. Let's start with the video. So the show basically starts from 2012, after the first Avengers, when exactly they went into time in order to resurrect the Tesseract. The entire show is about how Loki escaped that timeline and how he has now going to create even more repercussions in time. After escaping, that variant of Loki creates a loop in timeline, and he has been landed in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia, where he tries to connect with a few local people, but he is then captured by the TVA. The way this TVA and the entire introduction of how TVA exactly is going to be, it is very much interesting, because they take out his costume, they kind of make him sign all the things that he has done in past. There is also a very funny scene related to how there is a machine who kind of detects they are robots or not, and after that he kind of goes away towards his jurisdiction, where actually before doing that actually he kind of gets to know about exactly what time variance is, like how there is one particular sacred timeline, and if somebody violates that sacred timeline, how the repercussions would be happening into the time. And that is how we get to see the multiverse, and this is definitely going to be the major plot beginning of Doctor Strange. And then we get to see that the TVA actually, which is the association who is going to be governing this sacred timeline, and which is the Time Variance Authority, and they would be governing how exactly the timeline should flow, or basically they manage to keep everything how exactly it should be. Then we get to see Owen Wilson's character, who is kind of doing his part in maintaining the timeline how it should be, where we see him in 1549 in France, where he has this very unusual communication with this little girl, and how she is kind of linking that to devil, or what exactly could have done in that particular timeline. And then he is being informed about Loki, so he is now going to be there in during the hearing of Loki. And then we get to see the Loki's hearing, where he is being asked whether he can plead guilty, and he absolutely doesn't have any idea of what exactly is happening with him. He still thinks that all this is part of an illusion or a magic. And then at that particular time there is a very discreet scene about he knowing that the Avengers are back in time, which is really absurd, because I really don't think how he has identified that, how possibly he would be knowing that the Avengers are already back in time, and all that he gets from a cologne, that too from Tony Stark, only just guessing that there are two colognes, so there would be two Tony Starks. That was a very like a very basic and a very absurd reference, because of which he is trying to put the entire blame on Avengers. And it kind of is also strange that they have also traveled the time, they have traveled back into time, and they creating any kind of repercussions is very much less. So they traveling back in time was very much according to the timeline, but when Loki traveled in timeline, he is somehow going to mess up the timeline. And then we see Owen stepping up and trying to take the side of Loki, that he might actually save a better purpose, and trying to plead the judge that he could actually do something bigger than what he's supposed to. Then we get to see how exactly the time variance and their world exactly is. Just apart from resetting the timeline, there actually exists a world which could also be as beautiful as this. We get to see the part from the trailer where he is actually trying to explain Loki how exactly that TVA works and how exactly the variance is being made back to their original position. But they kind of shown this scene where just the Hawkeye is just pointing the arrow at him, and even this was one of the most iconic scene. Next flashback is one of the most comedy flashback, because he then explains that Thor and Loki were actually having a bet wherein he lost the bet. So just in order to gain money, he was just back to Earth and he was trying to gain some money, and exactly at that time he is kind of being pulled back into space just moments before he was supposed to land. And then while we are almost halfway through the episode, or not exactly even halfway, but the part when we have just started liking the whole series, we've been made to remember this very sad moment of the death of Agent Coulson. And if you have seen all the movies right away from the beginning, Agent Coulson has had such an important impact throughout the entire Avengers, be it right away from the beginning of Captain Marvel, be it from Iron Man, be it from Captain America. He is one of my favorite character in the past, and his death was definitely one of the saddest death in the entire MCU, and we've been made to remember that again, that Loki was the reason for his death. And then Owen tries to show him his real timeline, what exactly is the sequence. We get to see the glimpses from the Thor Dark World, where the elves were going to attack Asgard, and in the attempt of directing them towards Thor, he kind of directed them towards his mother, and then we all know what exactly happened after that. And while doing so, we again get to see the cop who actually captured Loki, and she was trying to convince Owen that these are not the thing, like this is not how it is supposed to be. And exactly at the same time, Loki escapes from his vault. And there has been a very legendary connection and a relationship between Loki and the Tesseract. So the first thing that he goes for is the Tesseract, where he actually where he actually gets to know that the Tesseract has no meaning in the TVA. He even gets to see some more Infinity Stones and how helpless they are, how useless they are. That is kind of the point when he actually realizes that there could be something even more better for him. There could be something which could be even bigger than what actually he is dreaming to do. And so he gets back to his vault, and he again tries to see what exactly would be happening with the real Loki, the death of his father, how he and the bond between him and Thor would be even more increasing. I was kind of hoping to see Hela over here, but we got to see how they would be bonding up in the future episodes. And then he eventually even sees himself die at the hand of Thanos. And that was kind of the end of file, because that was the part only till when we could see into the Loki's perspective. He would not be actually able to see what exactly happens in the end game. And then we are back with the cop again, who Loki was very much efficient in capturing her into the time loop, and that was a really funny scene. And then we are back with Owen where he tries to explain Loki that how bigger his life could be, because he has already seen the main timeline, so he could actually be of some help by helping Owen. And that was one of the major cliffhanger, because we were never expecting Loki to do something so absurd that the variant that they were looking for was a different variant of Loki himself. And then we are again back in time in 1858, where the variant of Loki is going to kill a bunch of time cops. And that is the end of the episode 1. So that is it for this video, guys. According to me, I would still rate overall 3.5 to 4 stars, because I can definitely see this show is going to be setting a lot of major basic plots as far as the future Marvel movies are considered, because it has magic, it has Loki, it has time travel, it has fun, and definitely it would be a lot of things for future Wanda or for future Doctor Strange, as we can see. And considering the first episode, it is almost more than 50 minutes, so definitely this is also going to be similar to WandaVision, where they would be creating a lot of build up and the pace of the series will definitely be a lot much slower. And yes, the show will make you laugh, it will also make you remember, it will make you like as well as hate Loki at the same time because of the things which he had done in past, be it Coulson. Coulson was my one of the favorite character from the MCU, and making us remember again that Loki is the reason because of his death. And but we definitely have a love-hate relationship with Loki, and definitely it would be an amazing series to be looking forward to. So thank you so much for watching until here. Do let me know what you think about the episode in the comment section below, and what you would be predicting now, which could be happening in the season, in the episode 2 or the episode 3. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed it yet, and I'll be meeting you in the next video.